light and darkness crisscross. It got my crew pissed off. It's like my wrist off. I'm writing rhymes till time hits for my mind is a piano.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Grave. And before we get into the video, real quick, Bandai has announced that there's going to be a 24-hour beta starting at 9 p.m. Pacific time and 12 a.m. Eastern time tonight, all the way until obviously 9 p.m. or 12 a.m. depending on your time zone the next day, which is 24 hours. So it starts tonight and it'll end the following night. Now, for anyone and everyone that hasn't gotten to try this game, you need to download it, play it, and see if you enjoy it, because today's video is going to be about the Dragon Ball Xenoverse versus the Dragon Ball FighterZ debate. Now, there is a discussion or a dispute online on what's better, Dragon Ball FighterZ or Dragon Ball Xenoverse. What is more of a love letter to the fans? What is a better game? What has better gameplay? And I'm just here to tell you, my personal feeling is that Dragon Ball FighterZ is a better game than Dragon Ball Xenoverse. That does not mean that Dragon Ball Xenoverse is a bad game. Xenoverse is an awesome game, and I think it paved the way for Bandai to contract Arc System Works to do Dragon Ball FighterZ. Xenoverse showed that Dragon Ball Z still has the juice. It showed that we as fans will support our favorite franchises regardless of popularity and, clout in the actual industry. So yes, I think Dragon Ball FighterZ is a better game than Dragon Ball Xenoverse. But what is the argument about? Dragon Ball Xenoverse is still a great game. There are pros to Xenoverse and cons to Xenoverse, and vice versa for FighterZ. And I think that if you are a Dragon Ball fan at all, you should play FighterZ. Now, if you are a fan that does not want to play FighterZ because you are trying to be a Xenoverse loyalist, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you, but FighterZ is everything that Xenoverse is not, right? Like, Xenoverse is more of a simulation. They let you make your own warrior, and you basically are fixing the timeline for Dragon Ball Z, and you're going through that as a fan, right? If you are not a fan of Dragon Ball, you will not be a fan of Xenoverse, because regardless of what you want to think, the gameplay in Xenoverse is very casual. That doesn't mean that it can't be played at a high level. Ask Rhyme Style, ask Afro Senju, ask JD Dantastic, ask those guys. They know C-Rex, C-Reacts, like those dudes, they play that game at a high level, and that's a great thing. They made Xenoverse very fun to watch on YouTube, and by extension, they did get a lot of, or the game got a lot of popularity from their videos. So clearly, Xenoverse is a game worth keeping around. But if you don't want to play FighterZ because you think, oh, I'm not a fighting game fan, or I'm not good at competitive fighters, it doesn't matter. There's a whole story mode. There's a whole arcade mode. There's essentially a party mode where you can do 3 versus 3, and each one of your friends can individually control a fighter, and you can go online and battle your other boys. Like, there are options for you to play this game and to really digest it without having to be a high level player, an FGC legend, and still enjoy the game. It is a love letter to us, the fans. And if you can't see that, and all you want to scream about is how you love Xenoverse more, and there's so many more characters, the roster is trash and fighters, and like, come on, bro. All that is nonsense. Like, you're just trying to be, contrarian. Because if you are a fighting game fan and not a Dragon Ball fan, what better way to get introduced to the Dragon Ball lore than in a game that essentially has the gameplay that you want? Don't we want people to experience Dragon Ball and to fall in love with Dragon Ball the way that we did? I mean, take Maximilian, for instance. This dude really had no love for Dragon Ball at all, right? His love started with Hyper Dragon Ball Z, the PC game that those dudes made, which is an awesome game, and I think also gave a little bit of a light bulb off in Bandai Namco's head for where they wanted to go with fighters. I definitely think that those guys influenced that. But Max started his love affair with Hyper Dragon Ball Z, but when Dragon Ball FighterZ was announced, he was like, holy shit, I gotta start looking this shit up. And by extension, he may not be the biggest fucking Dragon Ball Z fan ever, but he genuinely has a love for Dragon Ball now because of this game. And isn't that what we really need to strive for? Is to allow ourselves to stop trying to see something from just a fan perspective and not invite people into the fandom. It's exactly what happens when you try to get into the fighting game community via this game and you get blown the fuck up, and instead of the dude being like, yo, let me teach you some shit, let me show you how to pull this combo off, let me show you, how to cancel this attack into that super so that you can do, this amount of damage. Instead of seeing that, we just see, well, get good, scrub, go fuck yourself. And it's like, yeah, we talk that way. And look, I'm not part of the fighting game community. It's not like I have any clout whatsoever. But what I'm saying is I play a lot of video games. And I talk shit and I tell you that you're a scrub and I tell you to go fuck yourself because that's my competitive nature. I'm just being competitive. It's all in good fun. It's all in love. So I really think that we need to dead this debate, dead this discussion about what's better and what we need to see more of. Xenoverse is fine. I guarantee you you will get a Xenoverse 3. Okay? Xenoverse is not dead. Dragon Ball FighterZ is not the Xenoverse killer. Okay? You need to stop that shit. Dragon Ball FighterZ is an amazing game. And I'm sure we will see a second one of those. We don't have to try to fucking take the piss out of Xenoverse and make people feel, make people that were good at Xenoverse feel like they will never fit in the fighters community or in the fighting game community at all because they played a casual game for fucking anime weeaboos. Like, come on, bro. Enough is enough with that shit. And that's why I just got on here to say, bro, the fucking beta is starting up again tonight. If you're on the West Coast, 9 p.m. If you're on the East Coast, 12 a.m. And dude, if you haven't checked it out because you have some type of bias or you think that it is not for you, just try it out. Now, obviously, we don't have the full game for you to try, so if you're not a competitive fighting game fan and you go on and you get blown the fuck up, don't be discouraged, bro. Just understand that you don't ever have to play these people again if you don't want to, but there is a whole host of modes in Dragon Ball FighterZ that could be for you and you could fucking enjoy it, but you don't even want to think about it because you want Xenoverse 3 or because you feel like you're not good at fighting games. That's not an excuse. Now, again, if you hate Xenoverse, valid. If you hate Dragon Ball FighterZ, also valid. If it's not doing it for you, if it doesn't turn you on, that's also a thing that I can accept. But if you're just being a dickhead for the sake of being a dickhead, cut that shit out. Because Dragon Ball FighterZ could open up the door for us to get a Naruto FighterZ, to get a Bleach FighterZ, to get a My Hero Academia FighterZ. Xenoverse, being as popular as it is, also holds the door open for all those games in a Xenoverse style. Like, why do we want to just blow it all up and say this one is superior, so we only go with that? No, enough is enough. My dream is that instead of just continuing with Dragon Ball or making a One Piece or My Hero, we give Arc System Works the opportunity to make a shonen fighter, and we have Naruto, One Piece, Dragon Ball Z, My Hero Academia, and maybe Bleach, because I have my own thing about Bleach, and I think I'll make that video in the future where I have a love-hate relationship with it. But dude, it would be fucking awesome to see Ichigo in that game, or Aizen, or whatever. Like, that's my dream, is that maybe we will get a versus game of strictly anime characters and have a 50-person roster like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and really come into our own as a genre. Like, we could have all that if we just stop the bickering and the infighting and stop trying to fucking boot people out of the fandom because they're not quote-unquote real fans, and trying to bar the real fans from the fighting game community because they're quote-unquote scrubs. Let's fucking come together and fucking show some goddamn respect to each other and play some fucking games. It's all love here. So, what do you think about what I'm saying? Do you like Xenoverse better? Do you like FighterZ better? Are you on the fence about FighterZ? Were you one of those people that are just naysaying because you don't want FighterZ to succeed? What do you feel about this? Do you think I'm hitting the nail on the head, or do you think I'm just being a fucking, optimistic dickhead? Let me know in the comments. I'm trying to start a dialogue here, guys. That's mainly what I want on my channel, is for us to have a conversation. I'm not the fucking breakdown guy. I'm not the fucking video essay guy. I'm the guy that just wants to fucking have a water cooler conversation and have fun with it. So we try to do this at least 2 or 3 videos a week. I'm learning as I go. I'm trying to pick things up here and there. Let me know how I'm doing. If you're new, like, share, and subscribe. If you've been here before, I fucking appreciate you. And if you've been with me from the beginning, I'm in debt to you. I love doing this shit, and I will continue to do it whether 100 people watch or no one watches. I fucking appreciate you if you got to the end of this video. For more anime, gaming, and streaming, stay tuned here on Grave TV. I'm gonna fucking get set up so that I can really start thinking about this beta coming up. Have a good one. Let me know what you guys are feeling in the comments. And follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Beyond the Grave, and hit me up. Have a good one. Graves out. Peace. Oh, also check out the Kinda Funny swag, boy. Kinda Funny for life. Peace, yo.